Gonna make a quick little impromptu video about the new Whipped Dog brush that I just got, and a test lather with Mike's Natural, and this is the orange cedarwood and black pepper. And I'm just gonna try that one out. And here's the new bowl, custom shave bowl that I got. And this, you may see a design like this at the bottom of the Captain's Choice lather bowl, for instance. But here's the big difference, and here's why I found this bowl. The Captain's Choice bowl stops at about right here. And so I also have the fine lather bowl, the fine accoutrements lather bowl, and it is very similar to the Captain's Choice, where it doesn't go too high. And I found myself so often governing and managing and preventing that lather from overflowing instead of mixing. And that was just a waste of time, when the whole point of that bowl is to save time by generating lather quickly with all those ridges. And so that's why I found somebody online and I gave them some specs. The bowl didn't end up exactly to spec, but it's pretty darn close. And after all, it is pottery and clay, and getting it to be the right shape sometimes may be a little rough, but it's got these ridges. In the center, it's not. I like for it to be a little bit more ridgy, but I think it's good enough to help with a lather generation. And my first thought when I saw these types of bowls was, you're making a circular pattern. Why have a circular ridge pattern in the bottom of the bowl? Because doesn't that not agitate the lather at all, because you're going in a circle anyway? Well, then I thought about it more, and here's this Whipped Dog brush that I just got in. And if you think about it, like if you're on the outer edge right here of this brush, look where it travels. It starts at the top, then it starts to move toward the middle, and then it comes back at the top again. And so it's actually traversing over some of those bumps, even when you're making a circular motion. Now granted, the part in the middle is not really changing because it's following a ridge around, but everything else is doing some sort of bump. And this is easier for the ceramic makers to put in instead of the radial lines that emit out from the center, like with the fine accoutrements lather bowl. But then of course, if you ever do a back and forth, then that of course is going very much against the bumps and should theoretically help you to quickly generate a good lather. So I have soaked this brush for a little bit. I've also, it's a brand new knot, and I've also just did a little quick clean with a bar of soap. So it's ready to go. And let us, there's somebody online that was interested in the Mike's orange cedarwood and black pepper, and so I just wanted to, I had it for a little while, it's used, and I wanted to try it out because, you know, it might be a good match if I found a good home for it. I'm just going to pull out about a 1/4 teaspoon, and I like to do that for instead of loading from the bowl. And now I'm just going to press that into the bottom of the lather bowl. And it's better to do this when it's dry. The soap tends to move around and not really stick if it's all wet and stuff, but it should be okay, I think. Try to get it thin, that way it won't take as long to work through the soap and get it incorporated. Okay, that's what about a 1/4 teaspoon looks like in the bottom of this bowl. And so this is about a 5.5 inside diameter bowl. And I found that a lot of the, like the Captain's Choice regular size bowl, I think it's like 4 inches, and that's just not enough room for me to do my business. So, and then I added a thumb loop. I don't really need one for this bowl. I've got big hands anyway. I don't really quite need one. However, you know where it comes in handy is when you're washing the bowl. It gives you something easy to hold on to when it gets slippery and sudsy. And so that's especially when I'll use it. However, just stick my thumb through it. And here we go. Let's see, this guy, yeah, he's a little damp, so we're going to brush a little bit Stir him up a little bit, and then I'll start adding some water. And I'm gonna probably lose brush hairs like crazy. I'm not actually gonna do a shave. Oh yeah, I got an orange scent coming up pretty quickly. Now I'm gonna take my little syringe like I usually do and start adding. I'll add half a teaspoon of water. Well, it's the right size in terms of just kind of making natural circles with my hands. The smaller bowls, I kind of feel like I'm going to get carpal tunnel syndrome. And then another feature of this bowl is the lip up here turns in just a little bit. And hopefully, if any lather that comes up the side is going to be turned back into the bowl. So now we will go back and add another half teaspoon. Since this is a new knot, if I lose 20 or 30 hairs in the first 15 uses, that's not a big deal to me. But if you're in the 60th use and such, and you're still losing a lot of hairs, then that could be a cause for concern. There we go. We're starting to get some lather. Whipped dog knots, in my experience, are really good at being soft. And some people would call them floppy. I kind of don't call them floppy. To me, they're just about just right. Just enough backbone to be able to whip up a lather from pretty much anything. Nice bloom. And this is the tall handle. Nice and long, and my big hands really like it. Well, so far this is doing really well. See, look at that soap that's coming up on the edge. And it's not overflowing, anything like that. Because I've got a bowl from the Dollar Tree that has these same dimensions. And so I needed something, I didn't need a specific size. In a sense, because I already had that. I needed the inturned lip, like makes it easy to keep that lather in there, and I needed the ridged bottom. And this is looking good. Let's gather up the thing here. That's a good looking lather. It's got a nice sheen to it. And let's go ahead and refill this guy. A lot of times with a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe 3 teaspoons of water is what it takes to bring the lather where I want it with your kind of average artisan soap. Some are less, some are more. That's just gorgeous. Now you'll notice I am getting, my thumbs a little bit messy. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And that's also why they have the low shoulders on the other bowls, is so that you you're not banging your brush against the wall of the bowl. And probably so your fingers don't get a little messy, but I bet that's not as much of an issue. But if I back it off and hold it at the very end, that's less of an issue. This lather is looking really good. let's do a finger test right quick and see what we're looking at. A little bit of cushion, nice slickness. This is probably good to go. Let's lather up with it. I'm not going to shave. This is in August, and austere August is the theme. There are a couple of months that some groups of people do different things. June is a month when we share soap samples, and everybody tries to do a different sample every day, a different soap every day. That's called the Lather Games. But in August, some people decide to just stick with one soap all month, just to maybe help you fine-tune that soap. Or if you have a soap tub that you just want to get rid of. Man, this thing is splayed out really wide. It's not giving me very much scrub at all. And so if you want comfort and softness, then this is the way to go. I'm going to add a little water to this knot. You switch it to the painting motion so that I can kind of... I've been using a boar lately that's got more scrub to it. If you want luxury and softness, then this is probably the way to go. But it's still got enough scrub to, enough backbone to pull off a lather off of your soap, you know? That's a good scent. Obviously to me the orange is the biggest note, and that is easy to tell. You don't have to have a refined nose to pick up on that one. Orange, cedar, and black pepper. Well, if you tell me there's black pepper in there, then my mind thinks it's able to find it. It's a really light scent from the bowl. It's really lightly scented. Kind of a disappointment. It's pretty good. I'd say it's a 2 or 3 out of 10. I'm barely able to pick it up while I'm using it here. Man, I like soaps to be where I can really get a good whiff while I'm using them. Not just when I stick my nose in the bowl. But the lather just... it is really slick. You know, we know that Mike's is a good base. That's a slick lather. Nice. Let me pause you while I wash this off. All right, so let's lather up one more time. I'm just going to pay attention to the feel of the brush, but the strength of this soap, try to be a little bit more focused on that. Tell you what, the loop also allows me to pick it up from the counter a lot more easily than if there were no loop, because I can just grab it, lift it up, and then flip it around to where I want it to be. So that's another good use of that. Let's fill this brush up again. I believe that these ridges are really helping to make good lather. And see, this brush did pick up all the soap that I put in there. And so it may be really soft, and it may not have a lot of backbone at all, but it, you know, the utilitarian aspect of getting the soap involved in the shave, it does that without a problem. This is a little on the dry side. I don't think I got quite enough lather on there. Nice creamy lather, and these badger knots do soften up over time. The one that I have, and this is the 22 millimeter, because I have a goatee, and so I don't need a super big knot, and this is big enough as it is. So yeah, nice. I feel like I dialed it in nicely with looks like 3 teaspoons of water. And the brush is doing well. First use. I expect it to get softer as it gets warmed up, probably within about 2 weeks of uses, 14 uses. So there we go, nice. And then we can, if we pretend we're on the 3rd pass, look how much lather was in there, and this is some good stuff right here. Good, good, good. So I do like, would I consider this floppy? I say it's right before you get to floppy. And so I do see why other people may call these floppy. I am so glad last year when I really started with the, the non-Walmart brushes, I'm really happy that somebody pointed me to Whipped Dog and said they were a great value, because a lot of the Badger brushes are expensive. They can be, but there's so many good knots out there from the smaller vendors, like the Golden Nib, and then you combine them with an inexpensive handle like this one. This is the amber one, or the brown one, so you can see a little bit of that, especially up here where the brush, the knot root is under there. Look at the big splay from just one use. Probably not going to change too much from that. And I don't have my other one. Here's one from the Golden Nib, just so you can kind of compare. This is a 20. I think this one might have a little bit more backbone. And this one might even be a bigger knot. But you can't really compare them easily because this one's still damp and this one's fully dry. So it's going to look like it has more hairs. But anyway, you can see I like these tall handles. Fit my hands better. Really, really enjoy this. Is one of my favorite knots. Just so comfortable. Still gets the job done in terms of pulling soap up off of a puck and warming it up. And this lather seemed to come together pretty quick. I'm interested in my shave videos. I wonder if they'll start being shortened now if I use that bowl with the ridges. So very cool. I'm gonna clean up now, and I just right now, it's a 1 or a 2 in terms of scent strength. Probably a 2, because it's a little bit more than me barely being able to smell it. And so that's a little lower than my range where I like them. So great performance, just feels really good. Slickness is just superb. A 1/4 teaspoon. Looks like it's going to be about right for 3+ passes, so that's cool. I mean, look how rich that is. And this is a nice, it's not a candy orange scent. It's not overly sweet. I've had a couple of those. And so maybe the cedar and the pepper are balancing it out just a bit. But I believe that I probably would not be able to pick out any other flavor, any other scent than orange in this one. If you say there's kind of a woody cedar and peppercorn kind of savory type scent, then maybe I can agree with you and see where it's coming from. But that could be just the power of suggestion. So if you're thinking about this scent and you like very light scents, or you have sensitive skin, then this might be right up your alley. It's definitely a good performer, and it's very pleasant. If I was stuck using this the rest of my life because all the other factories, burned to the ground or were outlawed or something, I'd be fine with it. It's pleasant, it's enjoyable, and who knows, maybe those 2 notes, the peppercorns and the black pepper and the cedarwood, maybe they're balancing it out just enough to make it interesting, and it's just hard to tell. But anyway, that's my take on it. So first use of this lather bowl. I'm really happy with it, and I think it's going to be a good add to my equipment list. So there we go. I'm gonna rinse this off. My face got washed twice today. All right, take care and hope this is helpful to you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.